What is up, my friends? Defending Jacob. Holy shit, we're an episode away from finishing this limited series that has been, for the most part, a pretty solid series. I've only watched one other series from Apple TV, and that was Servant. If you haven't checked out that show, go check it out. And if you have checked it out, you should definitely watch my videos talking about the show because I really dug it, and I thought that Apple TV was doing a very good job with it. So when I heard about Defending Jacob, I was pretty intrigued by it. I thought that it was an interesting premise, and I also learned that it is based on a book that hasn't been out for a while, and I think it came out in 2014. So it's a fairly decent new book. So I've myself gone into basically what Defending Jacob is about in my other videos as well, and you can go check those out if you want some context on that, because right now I'm just going to talk about the latest episode, which is episode 7, and what exactly has happened since then. But I'm not going to go really in depth into the other episodes. If you want that, go check it out in the card above. But let's just get right into the latest episode, which brought us to the trial and the beginning of it. And let me tell you, this was one of the best episodes in the whole series. I was pretty much not a fan of the last two episodes. I thought that they were kind of like a fillerish in a way, and I thought that this series could actually be like a 5-part series the way it's moving. And besides that, that's the only thing that I do have a problem with. But my thoughts on it are that this is going to be an intense season finale. So the latest episode was called Job. Now, I'll get into what job meant in a bit. So they went to trial, and everything looked like it was going sort of like shaky. It didn't feel like Jacob had any defense to what was going on, and it didn't feel like the defense or the other attorney had anything really to go on. So it felt like it could go into anybody's game at this point. But what really got to me, and I think everybody else there, was when the attorney brought up the friend, you. So when he came up there and he basically started talking about what was going on inside Jacob's head after everything that happened to Ben, you started to sort of get this doubt. And I feel like us as a viewer, we were pretty much Lori in that position right there, because we were thinking, we want to sort of believe that Jacob didn't do this and that it was Pat's and all of that, but man, is it really starting to topple all of his credibility with everything that the friend is saying. And then once the whole story that Jacob had written up on that cut room website, which was a website that was glorifying torture and abuse and all of that, and it was pretty much similar to the Ben murder, you were just like, I think this kid actually did this despicable act. I think he really is the one who did it. And you are Lori at this point, with her being like, he did. And even the Andy character, who is played by Chris Evans, he is trying so hard in his brain to be like, no, I don't think Jacob could have done it. But deep down, he really believes Jacob actually might have done this, because that story is just gruesome and cold to be written right after somebody was just murdered, and very much so like the case. And he does sort of have a excuse to it, in that he probably heard in the news all the details and all that, and he wrote it as sort of some fanfic because he would have wanted to do that, but never really have gone on and done it. So now you're wondering to yourself, is Jacob really that innocent anymore? And I like how the show does this to you right at the end of the episode, but it also shows us Pat writing a letter talking about how he's sorry to the Rifkins for killing Ben. So everything just starts to go downward spiral, and you're just like, we have about 45 minutes to resolve everything now. Is Pat's the true killer? Is Jacob guilty of anything besides just being kind of a person that's sort of like in a dark space? And I truly do think that that is what this episode was meant to do, because now you're wondering, if Jacob didn't actually go ahead and do the murder, if he is actually guilty, what does that mean? And with that, I'm saying, let's say Pat is in fact guilty of it all, and they pretty much get him and all that, because we're going to have to see what's going to happen with Pat as he's writing this letter, because he is supposed to go into court the next day and he's going to testify. So we're not sure exactly how all of this will work out with Jacob, if he's going to be let go right away or what. But if he is indeed let go and we find out Pats actually did it because he was sort of stalking Ben, as the other kid said, who is now actually missing in Florida when he was supposed to come and testify in defense for Jacob, is Pats, like, for sure he'll go to jail, right? But with everything that Andy and Lori now know about Jacob and sort of like where his mentality is, does that mean that he would be capable of this at some point in his life? And what do you do with that information? And we saw Lori pretty much from the beginning start to sort of doubt Jacob, even though Andy requested her not to. But it's just that instinct of a parent, I guess, that you're just like, I know I love him and I don't want to wish this, but it is the truth and I have to get sort of to the bottom of it and face reality. Whereas opposed, I think Andy is still living in a fantasy where he doesn't think that nothing can happen, and he finds every excuse he can, as Lori puts it, to sort of justify him. And I think she really nailed it when she said, you've seen how these people can be like that. So whatever does end up happening in this last episode, I think the damage has clearly been done. I don't see this family going back to being a normal family anymore after all of this, especially with Jacob. And I would really think that Lori would want to find some sort of help with Jacob. Who knows what's going to happen to their marriage, as they both say it's just some fairy tale. So we're not too sure exactly what that means yet, if they are pretty much were in the midst of getting a divorce or something like that, or if they were just giving up on their marriage and just staying together for Jacob. That's very much so a possibility, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. Also, that mystery guy, who is he? We do know that he used to work for the mob, so he's some sort of hitman or something like that, or a goon that's been sent to sort of be an enforcer of sorts for some sort of idea that we don't know yet. So I think that everything is definitely going to come together, and I think that we're not going to be ready for the Everest to come. I think there is a big mystery that's still going to be unraveled, and I think it's going to leave us with our jaw dropped. So let me know your thoughts on the latest episode of Defending Jacob and the series overall. As I said, I think it is very well put together. I do feel like some episodes were very fillerish and we could have done without them, or could have put whatever is in those episodes into other episodes and gotten this ball movement. But I do believe that this should have been a series, not a movie like people said, because I think that there is so much detail to be put in there that you really couldn't pull it all together in a 2.5 hour type movie. And yeah, I'm good with the series. I'm excited to see how it all ends next week. What are your thoughts below, though? What are your theories that is going to happen with Jacob, with Pats, with the Barbers, all of that? And we still have to wonder, why is Andy Barber sort of being put to trial of sorts as well during these flashbacks or flash forwards, whatever you want to call them, when he's at the table with the other attorney, and what is going on there exactly, because something's about to hit the fan, and that's the reason he's there, I believe. So let me know your thoughts on all of that as well. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? On the road to 15,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I'll be having a theory video coming out later this week as well, and make sure you check out my other videos as well. I do a couple of videos on Netflix shows, on movies, TV shows, music, and most of my music stuff also will go on my Anchor. So if you want to talk more about music, you can follow my Anchor down below, whether it's on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. Also, make sure you're following me on Twitter. I am trying to get better at there, so make sure you follow me there. Trying to post a little more often and more stuff you love, and that's where I'm going to post a lot of new stuff. Maybe I'll do some news videos over there, and I'm going to try and do something pretty new with news as well, where I can definitely cover all of the news as well. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about pretty soon. So let me know your thoughts, your theories on everything, what you think is going to be happening in this show. Season finale is this Friday. I will be trying to get the video out as soon as possible, so make sure you tune in for that. But anyways, as always, go check out my other videos I already did on other popular TV shows that you're probably watching as well. And make sure you tune in for all the stuff you love. As always, stay safe, and my friends, and stay positive. Hey, if you're still here, still listening, appreciate you making it to the end. While you're here, why don't you go ahead and check out these other videos I have for you right here. Click on them, go check them out, and I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I mean, what are you waiting for? Let's get to it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, and make sure you give this video a like.